Greetings and salutations, gamers. Big Shit here, and today I wanted to discuss the turtelephant in the room, and that is Turtle WoW vs Project Epoch. Is Project Epoch going to kill and destroy Turtle WoW with facts and logic? No, it's not. With Project Epoch releasing on the 26th of July, many of the standard schizophrenics in the private server scene who make what WoW server they like their entire life's identity are aligning themselves into their respective servers' shill factions. This is nothing new, of course. If you've been around since the beginning, you'll have seen this routine play out 100 times. From Chronos vs Light's Hope, or Netherwing vs Sunwell, this is not a new routine. And as someone who normally cannot stand the enlightened centrist position and tends to occupy the extreme ends of the spectrum, I will be taking the enlightened centrist position. Turtle WoW and Project Epoch can both coexist, very easily in fact, but to better illustrate this point, I'll be using my PhD in Wowology theory to analyze the differences in the servers and how they can coexist. Turd Hole WoW has a proven 5+ year long track record of stability. The server is an evergreen staple in the private server marketplace, similar to Warmane for Wrath of the Lich King. And despite being aware of all accusations Warmane gets, it doesn't really change the fact that it is the evergreen Wrath of the Lich King experience for Wrath, in the same way that Turtle WoW has become that for Vanilla WoW. In comparison, we still do not know how Project Epoch will end up playing out. They could go with the evergreen design, or they could go the more standard route and capitalize on the never-ending cycle of Final Fresh, with a new server launch every year or two after the conclusion of content. Epoch could be a flame that burns twice as bright for half as long. However, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, regardless of which path Epoch takes. There isn't a world in which one server kills the other, in my not so humble opinion. Project Epoch also offers a completely different Classic Plus approach than Turd Hole WoW does, with a slightly more modernized version of Vanilla WoW akin to TBC. Turd Hole WoW, in contrast, is as purist as Classic Plus can be, with their doubling down on 40-man content, use of the 1.12 client, and overall conservative class and content design. Personally, I am someone who prefers TBC over vanilla. I like 25 and 10-man more than I like 40-man raids. TBC is also my favorite class design, with the bring the buff design of the specs. So Project Epoch is a vanilla plus experience that actually appeals to someone like me more than Turtle WoW would, whereas Turtle WoW will appeal to the more purist vanilla gamers. But despite this conservative content design on display by Turtle Hole WoW, the content they have managed to add into the game is genuinely pretty good. I personally have done much of the 1-60 content on Turtle WoW, and I can attest that it is well designed, fitting into the game nicely. I can't comment on Kara 40 with my own personal experience, but from what I've seen, and what my dearest pal Jiganator has told me, it's a fun and challenging addition to Vanilla WoW. 40-man raiding will always have its place in many gamers' hearts. Once the min-maxing dopamine juice reward mechanisms wear off and the characters reach endgame, many people will jump around to test out new servers or play other games, while occasionally logging in for some raid or world PvP on Epoch. And while their characters are entered dad mode on Project Epoch, Turd Hole WoW will release new content such as zones, dungeons, class reworks, or their enhanced client. But the same thing is also true for the opposite. Turd Hole WoW players clear the new content, wrap up the RP storylines, and then head over to Epoch to check out the new content there. Players will bounce between the two depending on which content is most fresh. To be honest, if you're a passionate WoW enthusiast regarding the older versions of the game, then this is the dawn of a new golden age for you. Something not seen since the 1x Blizz-like Vanilla WoW renaissance that took place on private servers from between 2015 up until the botched release of Classic WoW in 2019. Rather than pointlessly debating which server is cringe and which is based, any WoW private server enthusiast should take a step back and actually focus on enjoying what they are currently gaming through. Make no mistake, this is the trailblazing renaissance era of Classic Plus. You will see massive server populations for the first time in 7 years, the creation of brand new content creators who will eventually make it into the mainstream just like those from the eras of old. So enjoy this Classic Plus experience while it still remains a niche, gate-kept, community-driven space. We all saw what happened with 2019 Classic. It completely annihilated everything that was good about the original 1x Blizz-like no changes movement, turning it into a min-maxed, GDKP infested loot treadmill. Blizzard will inevitably release their own Evergreen Classic Plus experience. It's undeniable with the hype and success of Epoch and Turtle WoW so far. So to sum it all up, Turtle WoW is a perfectly good server, it'll continue to be healthy, and it exists as a place for purist 40-man vanilla gamers. Whereas Project Epoch is taking more liberty with its changes. And as for Bronzebeard,